this type of information, it's almost like the more you have, the better off you're going to be. And so if you're a store that has several million customers and you sell, lots of products, because the AI is able to learn from all that data, it's going to be able to better predict what your customers are going to do going forward. On the lower end, the less information you have, the harder it'll be. In general, we like to tell our customers, it'll start to work well once you've got maybe 1,000 historical orders or 1,000 historical customers. It starts to do really well once you've got 4,000 or 5,000 historical customers. And so that's sort of the threshold, but every business is very different. We do like to be upfront, say, hey, look, there is this minimum amount, but sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less, but that's generally what we like to see.
This podcast is brought to you by Bambassadors.com, the go-to platform for e-commerce brands to create video reviews that boost social proof and sales on TikTok and beyond. Get your first video review created and posted by a genuine creator, completely free, no strings attached, and no credit card required at Bambassadors.com.
Welcome to the EcomXFactor podcast, where it's all about launching and scaling your business using sales funnels, automations, and smart marketing. And now, please welcome your host, the founder of EcomXFactor, Yaron Bin.
Hi, Shanif. How are you?
Hey, Yaron. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me here. It's great to be able to chat.
It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward. Actually, I had a few in my latest episodes, which were not published yet. I had a few people talking about data issues. This is the thing, I think, mainly since the iOS update and going cookieless. So this is a hot topic, yet to find a solution. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys are offering. But before we get we dive into this, can you share a bit about yourself and your background and how you founded Apteo?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a data geek. I love data. I love AI software. So my background is mostly in that world of sort of software, data science. Most relevant to this, I helped start a company called Ecommerce, which was one of the first mobile advertising platforms. I was a lead engineer there and the head of analytics. We sold that company to Twitter. So I worked at Twitter for a few years as a data scientist on their ads team. And then we started Apteo about 3 years after I joined Twitter, just to basically start bringing some of the world of, AI that I was using there to, smaller businesses and businesses in the world of e-commerce. And so, today we're using AI to help brands create more personalized marketing campaigns using predictions. And so that's kind of the nutshell of me in a minute. Obviously, a lot goes into that, but that's my background.
Awesome. Great. So can you elaborate about the solution, about what you guys are doing? Is it mainly emails? Is it SMS? Is it on the front end? I mean, on the front of the funnel, landing pages? So
yeah, absolutely. I think, if you think really quickly about the problem that we're solving, people are having trouble getting customers to their stores, getting them to check out. This includes both new customers as well as existing customers. And so what we're doing is we are essentially helping them find new audiences and new segments based on what, these customers and these audiences are likely to do next. We take those audiences and we sync them to their existing tools, like their email tools or their SMS tools or Facebook tools, and then they can use their existing tools to market to them. So the whole point of what we're trying to do is help them find more targeted groups of people who are likely to do certain things like buy a certain product or maybe respond to a certain type of offer.
Do you get most of the information using like zero-party data or after the purchase, or is there anything very esoteric behind the scenes with the algorithm that I can't even figure out?
Yeah, it's funny. I'll try to explain what we do without getting too technical. We essentially get lots of data from different places. Certainly, transactional data is really important. So information about what you bought before and how much money you spent is really helpful to understand what you're going to do next. But we can combine that with other information. For example, we're able to sort of take your name and predict whether you're likely to be male or female. We're able to take information about where you live and use that to figure out what you're likely to buy next. So we take all this information, most of it is transactional, but we'll combine it with other data sources. And then we basically just say, hey, look, we tell an algorithm, hey, look, here's all this information about somebody. Here's what they bought in the past. Here's what they bought afterwards. Start to learn patterns in all this data. And then once you learn patterns, just apply that to what we know about people today. And we can start to use that to understand what they do going forward. And so that's, essentially it. We use about 80, maybe 70 to 80 different data points for each person. And so it is a large amount, but, it works fairly well with stores that have a lot of historical transactional data.
This is exactly my next question. So what is the threshold for this to become effective? Like stores with a revenue of $10,000 per month or less or more? What is like some sort of a benchmark?
What's funny is with this type of information, it's almost like the more you have, the better off you're going to be. And so if you're a store that has several million customers and you sell, lots of products, because the AI is able to learn from all that data, it's going to be able to better predict what your customers are going to do going forward. On the lower end, the less information you have, the harder it'll be. In general, we like to tell our customers it'll start to work well once you've got maybe 1,000 historical orders or 1,000 historical customers. It starts to do really well once you've got 4,000 or 5,000 historical customers. And so that's sort of the threshold, but every business is very different. We do like to be upfront, say, hey, look, there is this minimum amount, but sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less, but that's generally what we like to see.
So before we dive into the case studies, and I'm very curious to hear about what have you guys been seeing. So I'm curious to hear maybe from an anecdotal perspective, since you're exposed to so much data, have you seen any interesting correlations between something that we wouldn't expect, something that isn't like straightforward, obvious? Okay, if these people have like big AOV before, so their likelihood to retain and buy big orders is it makes a lot of sense. But is there anything like surprising?
I would say it's not super surprising. Like it's probably going to say, oh, once that makes sense, but the geography and the location and like the zip code here in the States where you live makes a big difference in terms of being able to predict if you're going to, what you're going to buy next. And so you might say, well, zip code, that's interesting. But at least here in the US, if you think about geography and zip code, it really is tied very closely to things like socioeconomic situations. It's tied closely to demographics and makeup. And so zip code is very predictive, or it can be for many stores. And then simply like one of the most predictive things is just how long ago did you make a purchase? How long ago did you make your last purchase? How long ago did you make your first purchase? And what we're starting to see is the more active you are on a site, the more active you're going to be going forward. So not surprising at all, but it does mean if you're a marketer, you should really focus on getting people to come back after their first purchase and continue to make new purchases, just engage with them more than you might otherwise. Outside of that, different stores have different characteristics. So obviously, if you're selling something like dresses, if you're a woman, that's going to be really predictive of you buying another dress versus if you're a man, it might not be. And so things like that make sense. Age sometimes can make a difference, but it is sort of that those are some of the things that we've seen at least stand out among the crowd of the other data points that we've got.
Is the data collected for every store? It's a complete separated data set, or do you also combine and based on or make predictions based on all the stores that you have access to their data?
At the moment, every store is its own little data set. Every store, we basically use their own data to come up with their own AI models and understand what their customers are going to do. Now, that being said, one of our plans going down the line, a lot of stores are basically struggling to find new customers, as I mentioned. And so one of the things that we could do is combine information from multiple stores to help you as a brand start to find new customers using existing stores data. Now, we don't do that right now. There's privacy issues that are part of that. There's other sort of issues, but that's something that we would love to do down the line. But today it is just your own individual data that we use.
Awesome. Yeah, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe since you said the zip code is very powerful and it makes a lot of sense. So maybe just import a list of zip codes which are more relevant and push the traffic towards these specific zip codes. I'm sure people are doing this already, but it's something that I just thought of. And based on the information, is it connected to custom audience in Facebook? Is it connected to Google Ads? Or what do the store owner or the marketer needs to do on his end to implement the recommendations?
We want to make it as easy as possible for people to use the tools that they're already using. And so we have sort of built these integrations into existing tools. So I'll give you an example. One of our clients, they create on-demand fashion. So you can print basically, different types of clothes on demand. We have their data. We send it to Facebook as a custom audience, and we use that to help them find new customers. So Facebook is one of the key things that we help to do, but we also connect to something like an email tool. And so we can perhaps, for example, find people who are likely to buy one specific product, send that to your email tool. And then you can then use your email tool to send people a particular offer or a particular, message for that product. In general, we're connecting to email, SMS, social media, anything that sort of folks are using today to do their digital marketing. And we're frequently building new integrations. So if our customers want something new, we'll go ahead and scope it out and sort of build it into our product.
Awesome. Sounds great. So you already started talking about your customers and their experience.
Yep.
Do you mind sharing a few case studies, a few interesting case studies, success stories?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I find this stuff fascinating. I'll give you one example. One of our earliest case studies was with a company that sells cosmetics. They're called Hanalei, really great folks over there. Check them out, HanaleigCompany.com. They have this sort of user base where, just like every other store out there, they've got a group of customers who are repeat purchasers and a group of customers who are one-time purchasers. One of the things we can do for all of these folks is sort of predict what they're going to buy next. And we can sync that information to their existing email tool, which is Klaviyo. Mm-hmm. And so what these guys are doing is every 2 weeks, they send out an email to everyone who's got recommended products based on Apteo. And they show like the top 3 or 6 products for each individual customer. So you're going to get a different email than I get. But this drives sort of a couple $1,000s of predictable revenue for every email. Mm-hmm. And so what they're doing is they're using the same technique and technology to drive consistent and predictable revenue, which works well. Mm-hmm. These guys are also doing something where they're taking our software, which has produced sort of this group of customers who are their best customers, people who are spending a lot, mm-hmm. driving a lot of money. And they're using that in their Facebook ads account. And so what they're doing is they're taking that group of customers and then they're using them to find similar customers. And, whereas before they might've been spending like $1 on Facebook ads and make like 90 cents or 80 cents. Now they're able to spend $1 and make more than $1. And so by using this sort of technique, they're spending, they're making a couple $1,000s in sales. So that's one way of doing it. Another company is Zukul, which that's the on-demand print company, fashion company.
Quick favor, guys. If you enjoy these shows and have been a listener for quite some time now, we would really appreciate it if you could take the time to give us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your preferred podcast app may be. Having lots of ratings and audience feedback makes our show become more visible across multiple platforms. And it also supports our mission of helping as many people as possible to become better marketers and better entrepreneurs. So if you're not driving and it wouldn't be dangerous, pause this thing right now and give us an honest review over your podcast app. And we will love you even more than we already do. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope you enjoyed the show.
They're doing something very similar where we take their our software basically finds which customers are likely to buy which products, mm-hmm. Syncs them to Facebook, and then shows those products to those people as well as people who look like them. And so, Zukul is able to sort of spend $1 and make more than $1 on Facebook. And so mm-hmm. then it becomes something that you can scale. Another company we work with, Rampage Coffee. These guys had a really strong, healthy business. One thing we did for them was we identified people who are likely to buy, one of their most expensive products, which is a 5-pound bag of coffee. And then we sent them a promotional email that said, hey, look, if you buy this coffee, we'll give you this, extra hat for $1. So mm-hmm. our software was able to identify people who are likely to buy this product. And then we combine that with an offer from their store. And so all of these techniques are basically driving, several thousand in sales. For example, for Rampage, we were about 15% of their monthly revenue when we did their free trial. Hanalei, we're driving several, 8 to 10% additional sales. And so all of these are ways that some of, our customers are using our data as well as our insights to expand what they're already doing on the marketing side of things.
Mm-hmm. So that sounds awesome. And do you offer some sort of personalization to the landing page?
At the moment, we are entirely focused on marketing campaigns, so email, SMS, Facebook. But just like what we are hoping to do with sort of new audiences by combining data, we are also hoping on basically adding personalization to the landing page. It's a little bit different because sometimes you don't have data about new visitors. But probably in the next 6 to 12 months, what we would be able to do is take all the information we have about your visitors and then start to, customize the landing page. We'll probably offer that as both an API as well as like a widget that we can plug in. If you're on Shopify, we already integrate pretty well with them. And so you could just check a box and our widget would update that. So long answer, unfortunately not, but short answer, that's coming soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And can you elaborate about zero-party data and how you guys are leveraging zero-party data? I'm wondering if you're doing any surveys, any quizzes, stuff like that produce good results.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Zero-party data where customers provide their own information is starting to become really, really helpful and big, especially as brands are losing access to some of the third-party data. Mm-hmm. We have the ability for you to basically work with us to plug in any custom data that you might have. So let's say you got data from a quiz. If you're working with us on sort of like a custom plan or an enterprise plan, we'll take that data, we'll plug it in, and then we'll use it to predict, make better predictions. And so right now, the way it works is we have this sort of standard offering where any customer can go in and easily plug in their tools like Klaviyo or Facebook or whatever. And then, larger customers or customers who want additional functionality can work with our engineering team to take a data set and then plug it into a model. And so depending on what you've got, like you said, quiz answers could be really useful. Affiliate information could be really useful. Things like social snowball, recharge, where you've got subscription information. It's kind of a type of zero-party data, maybe first-party data. These are all things that we can start to plug in for you. And so it depends on the customer. There's a standardized offering. And then if you as a customer want something more, we'll work with you to get that integrated.
Let's talk a bit about the pricing that you guys are offering. I haven't dived deep into this, but can you elaborate about how do you guys charge?
We, essentially what we do is we say our AI is learning and understanding from your customers, your historical customers. So based on the number of customers that you've got, we will charge you more or less on a monthly basis. So at our lowest end, let's say you've got no more than 5,000 customers. You're going to be paying a couple $100 a month for the software, for access to the software. But that gets you everything from, all of these custom audiences to getting started guides, how-to guides on how to use them, to being able to plug those into Facebook and email. And so as a smaller store, you're generally making more than a few $100s. You're making thousands of dollars. And then as a larger store, you might be paying a little bit more. Let's say you got a couple million customers, you might be paying a couple thousand a month, but you're using this to make tens, if not, more in terms of tens of thousands of dollars in sales. Now we do have this offering as well, where let's say your marketing team is really busy and you don't want to do all this yourself. We are also able to take your data from our software and then do the campaigns for you. So create your campaigns, design them, and then that's just a small flat fee on top of the software costs. So from a brand's perspective, it's very affordable. If our software is working for you, if it's doing well, it's very affordable to sort of plug us in, start using us in your campaigns. And if not, we have a free tier where anybody can come in, they can start to understand some of their initial data points, start to get limited access to their data totally for free. Mm-hmm. And so we try to make it as easy as possible for you as a brand to use us on a monthly basis using this monthly subscription model.
Awesome, great. And you guys are offering connections to WooCommerce, Shopify, all the big platforms. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. We plug into Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento, Wix. Most of our customers today are on Shopify, but we do provide support for all the other big platforms. Happy to talk to folks about how that works. Yeah.
I know Klaviyo are also offering predictive tools.
Yeah.
So can you share a bit about the difference between what you guys are giving in opposing to like the out-of-the-box solutions that the platforms are offering?
Yep. So yeah, it's funny. A lot of our customers actually use us in conjunction with Klaviyo because we sort of provide additional ways of looking at their data. So one thing that we do differently is out of the box, we will automatically create anywhere from like 20 to thousands of segments of customers based on your data. So you don't have to go in and do anything. You don't have to set up rules. You don't have to create custom audiences. We'll do it all for you based on your data. And that's one thing where, Klaviyo does have the ability for you to create segments, but a lot of times you don't know what segments to create. And so we'll take care of that hassle for you. Mm-hmm. And then another thing we do is we provide an alternative to Klaviyo's, product recommendations blocks. Mm-hmm. So we'll have the ability for you to plug in our recommendations in addition or in lieu of Klaviyo's. And a lot of our customers like that because it really is like true AI where we are able to sort of really forecast and predict what people want, which is just a new alternative way of doing something. Maybe if you don't want to use Klaviyo's existing blocks, totally fine. And so those are a couple of things we do. And then on top of that, our product has a full suite of analytics. So product analytics, customers, discounts, geography. And we really try to make sure that you as a marketer understand your data. And so this is something that, while Klaviyo has existing sort of metrics about how your campaigns are doing, they don't tell you larger information about your store. So those are some of the things that we're trying to do to differentiate ourselves and help marketers truly understand how to best use their data for their campaigns.
Yeah, I must be honest, I didn't look into like Klaviyo's, I didn't dive too deep into Klaviyo's predictive analytics. And I totally feel that a solution like you guys that aggregates all the data can be very helpful. Before we start concluding the conversation, you mind sharing a few tips maybe to the listeners regarding how to optimize or segment their campaigns, even if they are not using your awesome software?
Yeah. So one of the things that we've seen work really well is you could Obviously, people are having trouble on Facebook today. One of the ways to get around that is to create an audience of your customers who are some of your best customers. Our software will do that for you automatically, but if you want to do it yourself, you could dive into Excel, take that group of your best customers, send them to Facebook as a lookalike audience, and then start running campaigns against that lookalike audience. Really good way to recoup some of the lost return on ad spend that people are running into today. So get a group of your customers, make them or your best customers, send them to Facebook, create a lookalike audience. That's going to get you new customers. Second thing you're doing, you should do is, if you haven't done it already, take the group of your customers who are sort of at risk of never coming back, or people who have bought a long time ago. These are what we call sort of at risk and dormant customers. Try to win them back with a discount ladder. See if you can get them back with some discounts like 20%, 30% over the course of 2 to 3 emails. And if you get them back, you've recouped a lot of the cost that it took for you to get them. And if not, what you can do is you can start to put them into a sunset flow. And so that helps you sort of save money in terms of not having to send emails to a lot of people. Third thing is always try to supplement your email campaigns with SMS. SMS campaigns, you should treat them a little bit differently. 1 or 2 sentences with an with an image and a call to action. It's not an email. Don't be long. Don't be sort of extensive. Try to send it maybe once a week. And that should work pretty well. And then in general, one thing we do really well is we identify people who are likely to buy different products. So, try to segment your customers based on either what they bought in the past or what they're likely to buy in the future. And then you can start to target those audiences with specific types of products that those people are likely to buy. So all of these things, we're happy to help you guys do and get set up with. We have the ability to sort of run these campaigns for you if you're interested. And I'd be happy to provide an extended free trial for any of your listeners as well, if anyone's interested.
Awesome. That would be great. Yeah. Many people are overlooking SMS, although I think it's the marketing channel with the best ROAS. But a lot of people are overlooking it, maybe because they are not sure about the legalities. When you were talking, I thought about the fact that nobody speaks about Facebook Messenger ads anymore, like about ManyChat or stuff like that, which I think it's probably it's kind of dying since Facebook put a lot of restrictions. In the past, this was like the best remarketing channel because people were automatically added to like the Messenger campaign, but Facebook implemented a lot of restrictions and nobody's talking about this channel anymore. Are you seeing any stores doing anything with the Messenger?
I haven't seen it that much. Most of our customers don't do that. Some people are more interested in doing things on TikTok or Pinterest, but Facebook Messenger, like you said, is not, it doesn't seem like it's something that a lot of folks are focusing on. I think, like you said, it's just harder to do right now and it takes more time. And maybe the return on your investment is there from a time perspective as well as money perspective.
Great. Thank you so much, Shanif. So if people want to sign up for the trial, do they do this via the Shopify App Store or via your website or where?
Yeah, the best way, we do have an app on the App Store. You can install it, but to get started with the extended free trial and have us set things up for you, best way is to just contact me, Shanif, SHANIF @apteo.co, or you could just sign up on our website at apteo.co. I'd be happy to get you guys set up.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your day and keep in touch.
Likewise. Thanks so much, Yaron. It's been a pleasure.
Bye. Take care.
Hi guys, this is Yaron again. Just a few more things before you take off. Number 1, if you want to learn more about e-commerce and marketing, make sure you check out our YouTube channel, which is called EcomXFactor Official. Number 2, check out our Facebook group, which is called EcomXFactor Marketing and E-commerce Mastermind. This is a great place to ask questions and connect with other business owners. And last but not least, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with your friends and colleagues, plus leave a review at your favorite podcast app.